Two bros chilling in the hot tub.
You the twos and we the ones? Well, you are the biggest two of them all, my dog. That's what you are. You are a giant number two.
Welcome to a brand new episode of the Two Bros Podcast. As always, I am Bryce and I am joined by...
I'm Matt. I'm a very depressed Packers fan.
Okay, we'll talk about that later. But first, we're going to talk about the NBA because we had some NBA news. First is the biggest one possible. The Atlanta Hawks finally pulled the trigger on the Trae Young experiment and traded Trae Young to the Washington Wizards for Corey Kispert and CJ McCollum. What are your takeaways from this?
So there's two major takeaways off of this. First off, it feels interesting that they were willing to just sell him right away. I think they knew something that we didn't know. Now, of course, the Wizards win this. You're getting a multi-time All-Pro, multi-time All-Star, a guy who had led a team to the Eastern Conference Finals in the past to go along with your young and budding team, who is also still pretty young. For the Hawks, I like the idea of it, but now that we know Anthony Davis is down and he's probably not going to get traded this year, it really tanks the entirety of this operation for them.
Oh, I don't know. They're still thinking about trading him still. But I talked about this on TikTok, and I feel like the Hawks could have got way more. And I get Trae Young as a guy who's only averaging 19 with 41% from the field and 31% from three. But we've seen Trae Young put the Atlanta Hawks on his back for the last 8 years, and he even carried them to a conference finals that, quite frankly, they had no business going to at all.
Bryce is one of the biggest Trae Young haters in the world. He despises him. So if he's saying this, there's got to be something to it.
Yes, exactly. But if you mean to tell me you're going to trade a guy who, for his career, averages 29 points and 10 assists, granted the assists are empty assists because he just passes the ball to the assists like James Harden did.
I don't know. I watched him play against Washington about 2 years ago, and he was doing a great job of facilitating and setting up his teammates. I think we cannot sit here and say that he's an empty assist guy who holds onto the ball to the last second like Cam Thomas.
But you mean to tell me Desmond Bane got 4 firsts, got traded for 4 firsts, and Trae Young got traded for absolutely 0 draft picks at all?
So I think the reason for that,
Corey Kispert and a throwaway contract.
I've been thinking about this, and the reason for that is no one expected Desmond Bane to get moved. There was a lot of talks, but everyone knew Trae Young was gone. There was 100% guarantee that Trae Young was out the door. So his stock was down, his value was down, and the Hawks knew they had to do something. This is when they expected to trade for Anthony Davis. So I understand that they got nothing for him.
Speaking of Anthony Davis is going to miss multiple months after having hand surgery, but the Mavs will still look for trade suitors who, quite frankly, will bite the bullet and be stupid enough to overpay for Anthony Davis.
Yeah, Bryson, we're not live. Bryson and I are just recording the podcast. I'm talking to Iffy.
Who will be stupid enough to trade for Anthony Davis?
I mean, the Hawks probably would still be dumb enough. I think they cleared up all this cap just for that reason, so I would not be surprised if they actually still trade for it.
Maybe at this point with Anthony Davis, they'll trade for Lauri Markkanen. Maybe. Who knows? Quite frankly, I think that whoever trades for Anthony Davis should realize that Anthony Davis will play 5 to 10 games a year now because he's played 11 games in the 11 months since he's been a Maverick. I think teams have to realize that Anthony Davis will not play more than 40 games in the season ever again. He won't.
And so you're giving up
draft capital for a guy who won't.
A team like the Hawks had their star player kind of having in the same spot. Trae Young was a guy who was never on the floor as is. So you're giving up Trae Young for a guy who's who is significantly better, and when he plays, he will give you better production than Trae Young. I think you still make that deal.
That's fair. Now, since we talked about the Grizzlies earlier, they are finally listening to trade offers for 2-time All-Star Ja Morant. Who will pull the trigger if any team pulls the trigger on John Morant, considering his value has fallen more than Trae Young's has?
I think the only one that makes sense is the Timberwolves. They do really need a point guard, or actually no, another team is the Rockets. The Rockets have a good enough defensive team to make up for what Ja doesn't give them, and they have a good enough shooting team to make up for what Ja doesn't give them. I think the Timberwolves are also in that same stratosphere, but I think the Rockets make the most sense. They can afford to send away like maybe a young guy or two, like Atari Eason, who doesn't play nearly as much, and also they have so much draft capital as is. I think get you can get a lot for it. Or you can give up a little and then get a good amount back.
That's fair. Now we're going to talk about a firing that happened last week in the NFL, but we couldn't talk about it on the podcast because it
Why does
happened
this always
after
happen
the
right after the
podcast.
podcast?
The Dolphins fired Mike McDaniel after 4 seasons and a 35 and 33 record and an 0 and 2 playoff record. Where will Mike McDaniel end up?
I have the strongest feeling that he's going to end up as the OC for the Philadelphia Eagles. I think a team who desperately needs a strong OC is the Eagles, is a piece away from having, who is an OC away from being the team they were last year. So I
Yeah, we
think
saw
getting
what
an
happened when
OC
they had a competent OC. They won the Super Bowl. You there?
Yeah, sorry, I froze. I think what's it called? My internet started cutting out.
But yeah, no, we saw what happened when they had an OC. They won the Super Bowl,
I
and then
think
that guy ends up
another
being a head coach.
team we have to look out for to bring him in would be the Lions. I think
Yeah, it's their
another team has
OC.
a really good offense that would benefit from a guy like him. We saw how Ben Johnson made them the team they were. Aaron Glenn also was very important, but we saw how their defense was still pretty good this year. I think they are a competent OC away from being
Yeah,
back in the playoff hunt.
that's fair. Next, this is one I knew was going to happen. The Pittsburgh Steelers head coach Mike Tomlin will step down after 19 seasons and a 193, 114, and 2 record, an 8 and 14 record in the playoffs, and a Super Bowl win in Super Bowl 43 back in 2009. And he lost 7 straight playoff games to end his tenure.
Get your get your anti Tomlin rant out of the way now. Go ahead and do it.
This is 19 years in the making. He never should have been hired as head coach in the first place. This is a guy who has shown zero qualities of ever being a competent NFL head coach. He had, for most of his career, Ben Roethlisberger, Tony Brown, and Le'Veon Bell. Now he's had TJ Watt to hold that defense together. An overrated defense, but still solid. And I will tell you now, whoever is the new head coach of the Pittsburgh Steelers will make that team 15-2 next year.
So I disagree heavily. I think you're the same guy who thought Jeff Saturday was a good option when they hired him. His only win was against the trash Raiders team. So I'm sorry.
Yeah.
When you defended the Jeff Saturday hiring, it's hard to listen to you with any other hiring. You were also the same guy who wasn't fully against Josh McDaniel being a head coach again. So sorry if I don't listen to you when you say Tomlin was the worst head coach of all time. I do not think this team will be better next year. I think this team will be significantly worse. You look at the team and how they played, they only had these records because Tomlin kept them at least in that stratosphere. Do I think he was a good head coach? No. But do I think he was a bad one? No. I agree that the Steelers will be better in the long run with him being gone, but next year they will be atrocious. They will be one of the worst teams in the league, as they should be. It is time to get out of this 9-8 cycle and get a quarterback. Aaron Rodgers won't do it. If he comes back next year, no matter what, he won't be able to do it. And I think with Tomlin being gone, Aaron Rodgers is gone too. The whole reason Rodgers went there is because he wanted to play alongside Tomlin, or he wanted to play for Tomlin.
That's fair.
Also, if you hear yapping, we're dog sitting, and that thing will not shut up. But so it's okay.
I've just never liked Mike Tomlin. I've just never liked Mike Tomlin. Do you know that Mike Tomlin, his playoff losing streak is the same as Marvin Lewis's? Let that sink in. The Los Angeles Chargers fired offensive coordinator Greg Roman after 2 seasons, and then fired offensive line coach Mike Devlin also after 2 seasons.
Makes the most sense.
Yes.
That's another team I think you have to look out for McDaniel and the running as the OC. I think they have a lot more issues than just their offensive coordinator. I think they are still a good year or two away from really contending. I think you need to see what Herbert can do in the postseason. I understand he was taking a lot of hits, but he still had a great offensive line last year and got smacked around by the Texans. The year before had a great offensive line and got the one of the worst comebacks I've ever seen by the Jacksonville Jaguars. So I think you have a lot more issues than just an OC. I think the offensive line coach is going to be a great hire. I would not be surprised if, with how Philly is imploding, that they steal the offensive line, the legendary offensive line coach from over there. Forget his name.
Here's my thing. When we saw Greg Roman clearly not work out with Lamar Jackson in Baltimore, why did the Chargers think it was a good idea to bring in a clearly failed and flawed offensive coordinator in Greg Roman and still think it was going to work out?
Um, we've seen with the Chargers are the same team that we saw hold on to North Turner for too long. We saw them hold on to Brandon Staley for too long. The Chargers are a team that is run by an atrocious owner who pulled them out of San Diego when they shouldn't have been pulled out. Nothing surprises me at all. Nothing. There is nothing between this from this team that surprises me one bit. I was watching part of that game, and at halftime, I knew they were going to get their butts kicked because they cannot hold a lead. They cannot hold a game up. And it's because they're run so terribly. The only thing they have going for them is it Jim Harbaugh? It's
Jim Harbaugh and
Jim
Justin
Harbaugh
Herbert.
and Justin Herbert. That's it. Omarion Hampton is injured again. Rashawn Slater and Joe Alt injured. Everything you have falls on two
They have
guys.
the 32nd ranked offensive line. Their off
Do they
their
actually?
center, their center on what's it called on Sunday was ranked 41st amongst centers in PFF.
When you're relying on Ty
41st.
Becton to be your best lineman, you have a problem.
Yeah, that's and you know how often he's hurt. The fact that he was healthy is wild.
The fact that he got a
Next,
contract was because Philly was so good.
yes. Next, speaking of Philly and them falling apart, the Philadelphia Eagles fire offensive coordinator, or should I say offensive coordinator, because watching him was offensive, Kevin Patullo after one season. Do
Kevin
you
Patullo.
think that Kevin Patullo will ever step foot in anything related to the NFL ever again?
Probably as like a quarterback's coach or something, some lower level assistant. Once again, not everyone's meant to be head coaches, not everyone's meant to be coordinators, but people have a lot of value in different positions. He can't be a play caller. It's clear as
No,
day.
absolutely
There's a
not.
reason that him and that AJ Brown went ballistic on the sideline because it was such a stupid call. The same thing with Jalen Hurts. He was arguing like, why are we calling this play? Philly did the smartest thing they could possibly do, and it will save their season next year. It's gonna first off, no matter what, they're trading AJ Brown.
AJ
Has to
Brown's
be
gone.
done.
Yeah,
He's
that's
gone.
going to happen.
That's fine. I think Smitty's better anyways, in my opinion. And I think Dallas
Don't
Goedert.
say that. I gave up 2 firsts in Dynasty for AJ Brown. Don't say that.
I'm sorry, Smitty's better. Just reality from someone who lives very close to Philly and has to watch a lot of games. I think if you look at this team, once they get a competent offensive coordinator, and I do mean the words competent, no more big names, no more people who you think have what it takes.
Mike
Hire someone who knows-
McDaniel.
Not even that. You can go for Brian Dable. You can go for literally any solid offensive mind. If you want to steal Clint Kubiak, go ahead.
Yeah, that's fair.
Anything else makes
I
sense,
agree
yeah.
whatsoever. I agree altogether. Now we're going to move on to injuries because there was a massive injury. And there are 2 injuries we're going to talk about. The first one is George Kittle tearing his Achilles in the 23-19 win in the wild card round versus the Eagles. What does this do for the 49ers the rest of the way?
So we saw what happened when the Niners faced the Seahawks last time when it was a really important game. They lost with George Kittle. I just do not foresee them overcoming this. This feels like we're going to see the Seahawks make the NFC Championship. In my opinion, we're going to get to this later on. It will be an NFC West NFC Championship. But Rams Seahawks, yes. But this, in my opinion, all but kills it. We've seen the Niners pull some voodoo magic and make it through this, but you're not going to overcome this defense of Seattle without your best weapon.
When George Kittle went down in the first, I thought it was over for the 49ers then. And somehow, well, just because Kevin Patullo existed, the Eagles were automatically doomed to lose from the start. But had it have been any other competent OC, they would have just destroyed any chance.
I'm going to steal a term from Your Name Tree's book. Elite talent didn't save him this time. It's just that simple. The Eagles beat themselves. The Niners didn't beat the Eagles.
Yeah. And that's been the way with the Eagles this whole season. They have the most talented roster in the league, but they lose in the first round. Next, we have Gabe Davis tearing his ACL in a 31-27 win over the Jags in the wild card round. What does this do for the Bills?
So in my opinion, that's not even the most influential loss they had. I think Tyrell Shavers going down is a bit more
Him getting
important in my
hurt
opinion.
sucks.
Gabe Davis getting hurt just takes away the consistency and the playoff experience. I still think Keon Coleman is going to have to step up. Curtis Samuel
Brandon Cooks
back this
has
week.
stepped up.
Brandon Cooks is going to be big for them. I don't foresee this actually affecting them too much. Gabe Davis is a big play kind of guy, not a consistency you needed. I think they'll be fine. Tyrell Shavers, on the other hand, makes me nervous. This defense that was already completely decimated, losing a massive guy like that, I don't know.
Yeah. Okay, now we're going to talk about the 4 playoff games that actually meant something because there were 2 that were bad and then 4 that were good. First one we're going to talk about is the Rams versus the Panthers.
I watched. So you
watched
this? Bryce watched this on the live stream. This was, in my opinion, the game of the week because I refused to give the other one game of the week because the ending of it. You suck.
It was actually
Matt
the game
LaFleur,
of
I
the
hate
week.
you.
There were 8 lead changes
Brandon
in the fourth
McManus
quarter.
is going to the pits of hell where he belongs. But the Rams Panthers was the best game of the week overall. In my opinion, Bryce Young proved he belongs as the starting quarterback for this team. It almost feels like every single time he gets close, his receivers stop knowing how to play football. And I'm sorry,
needs to go.
He's done. The experiment's over. Tet McMillan is your guy. Move off Leggett while he has a semblance of value. Get a 3rd, 4th, or a 5th for him and say goodbye. Send him to Atlanta anywhere. Even a 6th. You're right. You know what? Send him to receiver purgatory and have fun with the Jets. I don't care. Go anywhere else.
I don't know. The castaways from the other teams turned out pretty good to be
Fine.
receivers.
Receiver purgatory. Go to the Colts. Sorry, Bryce. Ravens. Thank you, God. Oh, look at me. But the Rams were the better team.
There were 8 lead changes in the fourth quarter alone this game, which is the most ever in a single playoff game. The Panthers had the lead with 4 minutes left in the game. All they had to do was hold the Rams and keep them out of the end zone, but their defense sold at the last minute. But this Panthers team proved that they should not be slept on. And anybody who doubted them and said that this game was going to be a blowout, they're looking silly right now.
I know, so stats won't back it up. If you watch the games, Bryce Young was the best quarterback of the divisional round.
He was. He was.
Oh, sorry, of the wild card round. Yes, the stats don't back it up, and in my opinion, the second best was Jordan Love, looking at how he played. Bryce Young was the only reason that team was in the game. Their run game was atrocious. Their defense gave up everything. Him and Jalen Coker's connection was the only reason. Well, Ted was good, but really it was him and Jalen Coker. And Bryce Young made the plays to keep them in that. He outplayed Matt Stafford. He outplayed Caleb Williams, Drake May, Jordan Love, Justin.
Maybe not Jordan Love.
No, he outplayed Jordan Love, in my opinion.
304 touchdowns.
354. But in my opinion, Bryce Young did more with less. So I'm going to give him that nod.
Okay, now we're going to talk about this game because...
Are we sure we can't skip this game?
We can skip it if you want.
I'm kidding.
We can skip it if you want.
So real quick, as the Packers fan on the podcast, I have to say that the Bears earned that win. I hate this. I hate the Bears. Screw you, Ben Johnson. I know you like beating us 2 times a year. Well, this is the last time you're going to do it. The Bears earned it. They were the better team. Jordan Love had himself a career game, played like he played against the Cowboys.
It looked like Toyota-thon Jordan Love.
Just did not get the outcome, and I'm sorry. I'm not the kind of guy who blames it all on one thing, but Brandon McManus needs to be
You mean Brandon McManus? How many people?
Brandon McManus needs to be investigated. Maybe he has a house in Chicago we don't know about. But I am sick and tired of Packers quarterbacks putting up legendary performances to be messed up by special teams, a crappy coach, and a crappy kicker. First Mason Crossbar, and then Brandon McManus? No, I'm done.
Okay, we're going to talk about Buffalo and Jacksonville because I think I said last week that the winner of this game would have gone to the Super Bowl, would have represented the AFC, and I still, quite frankly, agree with that sentiment. I think that these were the 2 best teams in the NFC, and quite frankly, they proved it.
To me, I think what really stood out the most is we all know Josh Allen is going to be a superhero. What stood out the most to me is that the Bills' defense held up when they needed it to. This is a defense we have seen get gashed all year long, especially in the run game, and they didn't make life easier for Travis Etienne, who's, in my opinion, is one of the more underrated running backs in the NFL, who's going to get a nice contract either from the Jags or someone else this offseason. They made life really tough for him, and I think if we see this again against an already anemic offense in the Broncos, this is going to be a pretty easy walk to the AFC Championship.
That's fair. And now we're going to talk. Well, no, this is of the 4 games, this is probably the weakest one, the 49ers and the Eagles.
Wait, there's only 4 games?
No, because I'm not talking about the other 2 because they were just bad.
Oh, yeah, they were pretty bad.
Yeah.
I don't know. One of them led to one of the biggest things of the week, though.
That's true. Mike Tomlin
we don't have to talk about that game.
Yeah, no. We don't even have to talk about San Francisco and Philadelphia. Now we can just move on to the divisional round predictions. But first, let's do the last week's records.
Oh, yeah, that was
because
bad.
It was a bad week for both of us last week.
I think I may have taken you, though.
You did overtake me. Well, for that week. So last week I went 2-10 because points are double this week. And last week you went 6-6, meaning my record for the 2025 season is 167, 89, 1. And your record for 2025 is 145, 121, and 1. So you still have a chance, and we're going to do something different, because now for the divisional round, each one is worth 4 points.
Oh my gosh. All right,
so
give me a chance.
Next, apparently, according to last week, you still have a chance because my playoff predictions were terrible.
I was really surprised with how bad yours were. We're
going to start with Buffalo versus Denver.
So the problem with me is I think we're going to have a lot of the same picks, or if not the entirety of the same picks here. I have to go with the Bills. I think Josh Allen is destined to at least get to the Super Bowl this year, and I think the Broncos and their atrocious offense is not standing in that way.
Yeah. I think the Bills win 27-20. I do think it's a slugfest, but I do think the Bills are the better team. Next, we have San Francisco and Seattle.
This feels almost just guaranteed. This might be in my opinion, this might be one of the biggest blowouts of the week. I'm going Seahawks by 1,030,000. It'll be.
I'm going Seattle 23-20. It's close, but I do have Seattle winning. Next, we have Houston and New England.
So for me, watching how New England played against the Chargers, who are a decent defense, but just not that good, I have a hard time taking them over the Texans, whose defense, I'm sorry. I heard someone say it's basically 11 Wolverines with machine guns on the field. So yeah, I'm going with the outstanding defense of the Texans here.
Yeah, I'm having Houston make their first ever AFC championship and winning 27-24 against New England. As painful as it is, at least the Patriots are out. Next, we have the Rams and the Bears in the last divisional game of the week.
So I heard a quote today of Devontae Adams saying, once a Packer, always a Packer. And he wants some revenge, and I want some revenge. And Sean McVay's a way better head coach than Matt LaFleur. And they have a way better offensive coordinator, and they have a way better defense. Give me the Rams. And not just the Rams to have a good game, the Rams to dominate. I'm putting this into existence just because I want this to happen.
I have the Rams winning. It's not going to be close. I have them winning 33-16. I have the Rams winning 33-16.
Your biggest blowout.
Yeah. Anyways, that's going to do it for the episode. If you guys liked it. Wait, first, the national championship game is on Sunday. Is on Monday. Between the Miami Hurricanes and the Indiana Hoosiers. Who do you think right now is going to win? And you better not say. I
think this might be a worse beatdown than we saw last week. I think Indiana is going to handle Miami handily. Fernando Mendoza is going to make himself so good. He's going to be the first overall pick in 2 drafts. He is going to obliterate. Carson Beck will lose all of his draft stock. They're going to get beaten so bad.
Good. Carson Beck deserves to lose everything. I hate Carson Beck. I don't like him at all. Good.
Well, he's kind of hurt your team a few times.
He's probably going to be the second quarterback off the board now after Dante Moore declared.
No way.
I think he
Ty
is.
Simpson? You don't think Ty Simpson's going to go over him?
Carson Beck is going to go ahead of Ty Simpson.
Yeah. I'm sorry. I don't think – who else? Diego Pavia? That guy's going to be a 6th-round pick at best. I don't even think Carson Beck will be a third. His best will be a 4th-round pick.
There's only going to be one quarterback taken to the first.
I agree. I think it's
just Fernando Mendoza.
This might be the worst draft to not have the number 1 pick in for a long while. quarterback wise. I think that the problem is this draft is so strong outside of quarterback, you almost don't want that number one pick.
If you're the Raiders, do you trade that pick?
No, you take Mendoza. He is the future of your team. Even though he's not going to be that great in the NFL, you have to do anything but Geno Smith. Yeah, go ahead.
Yeah.
Bryce, what
Hey,
up?
Bryce. Hey, just something I wanted to say, by the way. Good to hear from you again, man. Something about this situation with the Raiders. They are a poorly coached team. They have more weapons and they're in a better position than what New England was a year ago. And you saw how great New England went from last year to this. To me, the issue with the Raiders is their coaching staff more than just their players. And so, unfortunately, even though they're going to draft Fernando Mendoza, I think the reason the Raiders are going to do it is because NFL teams don't make rational decisions that fans see from the same perspective.
That's fair.
NFL teams make decisions based on egos within the organization. And GMs, whoever's coming in, because I think John Spytek is still there and he's kind of on the hot seat.
Yeah.
So to buy him more time, Spytek will say, okay, let me draft this quarterback. And if there's any promise, if there's any benefits, if there's any struggles, hey, this kid has some things going for him. We just need to put things around him. We can't let him go. Like basically just using him to keep him around, as in using Fernando Mendoza to keep John Spytek around. Because logically, as a fan, you would say, hey, the Raiders build out that offensive line, trade down, have the Giants call up, have the Jets call up, have the Browns call up. Have them negotiate between the three of themselves, see how many assets you could get, because not only could you get assets, but also those teams are consistently bad. If you look at the overall win-loss record of the NFL teams, literally the bottom two are the Jets and the Giants. So not only you could seize their assets, you could do like what the Bears did to the Panthers, getting Caleb Williams. So from a fan's perspective, that's what would make sense. But unfortunately, from an ego perspective, if you build out a great team and all you need is a quarterback, look at what happened with, let's say, the Vikings, where they thought all they needed was one quarterback away. It was great to move off Sam Darnold, but you saw J.J. McCarthy wasn't it. So now Kwesi Omesa, the Vikings GM, he's probably as good as gone because now there's no excuse because you have everything but the quarterback. So Spytek is going to take Mendoza, feed him to the Wolves, have him die like Trevor Lawrence or Bryce Young did in their rookie years, and then he'll just go back to the owner and say, hey, have him build around this guy. He has promise. Give me more time.
I agree wholeheartedly.
And what's his name? Not Al Davis. Whatever his name is, Mr. Bull cut himself. Mark Davis, yeah, will do it because he does. Yes, so I agree.
They're making so much money, amazingly. Like they have the Raiders have 6 coaches on payroll. They're still paying Gruden, I believe. They're still paying Rich Bisaccia.
They're still paying Josh McDaniels.
Antonio Pierce.
They're paying like what?
Now
$50 million at this point?
No, probably like $30 million.
Now Pete Carroll, and then they're going to pay their new head coach.
Pete Carroll, and now a new head coach. So they'll have at least 5 coaches minimum on payroll if they finish paying Bisaccia because he was an interim.
Oh, you're right.
So they're paying 5 head coaches at the same time. But they're making so much money because of the expensive ticket sales for Vegas, plus all the events, and also just a little side.
I've been to that stadium.
Bryce, 2 things we're going to see in the future of the NFL. 1, all the stadiums will be domes. 2, the Super Bowl will be pay-per-view.
Oh, no.
Don't say that.
And we'll all fall for it.
No, we'll buy it. Those are the 2 things because all the teams in the North, in the Midwest, are saying if Minnesota can get a Super Bowl, Chicago's looking like no way in hell Minnesota can get a Super Bowl and we can't. But the NFL's like, well, it's too cold. And then they're like, okay, we'll just build a dome.
The domes I'm fine with. The pay-per-view stuff I'm not.
No. They will make it because think about it. Think about how much everything is increasing in money, increasing in value. You can see the NFL, the executives of the NFL, they don't actually care about football. They care about profit. They're such a profitable business that they don't care about what the fans actually like. I mean, hell, if they did that, why would they even sell out all these like Black Friday, Amazon, Thursday Night Football? Like, they don't care about the players. They don't care about the fans. They care about making more money. And what else can you do other than expand internationally, build a team either in Canada or Mexico City or eventually London, expand the schedule to 20 weeks so that the Monday after the Super Bowl will be President's Day. So you have off on that. And then you finish it off by saying, okay, if 120 million people are willing to watch the Super Bowl, I'm sure at least maybe 100 million people are willing to pay for the Super Bowl. And we'll make more money if 20 million people check out, at least 100 or 90 million who will stay, they'll pay. It's only more and more and more, Bryce. They will never stop. They'll keep expanding. It won't be enough. You'll see more gambling ads, more gambling ads in the middle of the game, parlays right in the middle of the game.
You'll probably see them like you'll probably see them literally like having a player run, and they'll show this close to their plus or minus. Like you'll see that after every play.
They'll experiment with that on like Thursday night.
Instead of like Amazon like stats that are really cool, you're gonna get like this person just hit this bet.
Yeah, exactly. In the middle of the broadcast, they'll start with.
I was watching some of the Texans Steelers game, and I was watching the ESPN Statcast, and it was pretty cool to see the alternate broadcast. I was like, I love
that's really cool. It's a cool one to watch.
Yeah.
All right. Well, real quick, I want to say one thing to people watching this. Well, two things. I will be at the Sixers game on Friday. Normally, I want people to come say hi. Don't do it this time. I'm going to be there with my girlfriend. I'd like to have a little bit of peace of mind. And second thing, remember, ice melts. All right? People will get it, but ice melts.
Oh, I get that.
If you don't get it, then you don't need to know about it.
Okay. Well, that's going to do it. Hope you guys liked this episode. If you did, you know what to do. Like, comment, subscribe, and as always, I'll see you guys next time. Peace.